On the 12th of August 2014, I found myself receiving a phone call from my work informing me that I'd over-invoiced, not just for the past week, but for the last 18 months. And they'd only just discovered the anomaly. It was certainly not on purpose, but absolutely my fault. And in that moment, my life flashed before my eyes. You see, I was 39 years of age, turning 40 in that December. I was married to a beautiful woman for the past 12 years. She was 3 to 4 months pregnant with our first and only to-be-born child, who is a thriving 6, almost 7-year-old boy. We had recently moved to our dream location of Noosa. We had used all our savings to buy into 2 businesses that had yet to take off. We were paying way too much rent for a home that was way too big for our needs. In fact, previously, I had been a top-level, state award-winning real estate agent for almost 10 years. Yet, we didn't even own a home. How does that happen? You see, I certainly wasn't a stupid person, but I was making stupid decisions and dragging my wife along for the ride. In that moment, thinking about all the failures, I contemplated taking my own life. I mean, what a waste of space, I thought. I'm likely to be homeless and a deadbeat dad. Thankfully, I snapped out of that pretty quickly. And being a high-level positive definitely has its perks, and this, perhaps, was the most important time for me to use that skill. What came from it was a moment of absolute release. I was so overwhelmed, I started to weep. Now, this was massive. I cannot remember one time where I cried as an adult previously, which is quite sad, perhaps quite typical for men, I finally realised. During that crying fit, I had one of those deep and meaningful inner discussions with myself. I first said, I never want to be in this type of situation again. In fact, I never want to be this type of man again. And these were the words that followed, which to this day I believe were not my own. Quite possibly it was God or the universe instructing me. And these words were, I know. When I figure out how to fix myself, I should write a book and help other stupid men like me figure out how to change their lives as well. Now, I've never wanted to write a book. I kept hearing these words after I made that decision. The truth will set you free. And then one of my bosses that I owed the repayment of funds to said the exact same thing. I decided that would be the book's name. Now, over time, that name has changed. Supercharged Freedom, Your Truth Will Set You Free. What does it take to discover your truth? Well, it requires taking responsibility, accepting you've made mistakes, making decisions and keeping your commitment, discovering a purpose and building a burning desire to achieve it, especially one that gives to others. It requires forgiveness to others, to yourself, and ultimately, it happens when you finally start changing your inner programming rather than the external. Start now. Start today. You're never too old to discover it.